Hi, I'm STARBORN. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is The Good Life. And that is because we are having a fabulous new moon this weekend on Saturday in Taurus. And that sign is absolutely loaded. It means that the sun is in Taurus, and so is the exalted new moon, and Uranus is there as well. And those three planets are trining two other powerhouse planets, Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. And so this can be a time when we could all be wanting to sort of have the good life. And what do I mean by good life? I think in this era of so many social contacts with everyone else and busy schedules going on, I think the good life for a lot of people could represent going back to basics. And what would the basics be? Well, first of all, they would be hard work, because you can't get anywhere unless you do work hard. There's no success without it. And then there can also be, after you've done the hard work, a desire for good food and comfort in your home. Well, that's natural, so that could be part of the good life. And then there is also the desire in your hard work to provide well for others. And that is certainly what a Taurus does very well, because Taurus is ruled by the love planet Venus. And finally, the good life and getting back to basics could represent the enjoyment of simple pleasures. And, you know, that could be your reward for working so hard in the first place. And so with these 5 strong planets in the practical, hardworking, realistic earth signs, we can certainly be focused on having the good life. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so this is a time when you may want to rededicate yourself to carrying on with some long-term plan you have, or to even start something new or restart something that you've always wanted to do that could lead you toward the good life. That's entirely possible. And so you may be thinking about having a new career, or maybe starting a new company, or even planning for a really enjoyable retirement. All of those things could take hard work and effort and a little time, but they could represent the good life to you. And this is a wonderful time to do that, because all 3 of the strongest planets in the heavens right now are sextiling each other. A sextile represents opportunities. So you're going to have more than one opportunity. In fact, you could have several to do something that can lead you toward the good life. And the reason why is that exalted moon in Taurus is sextiling Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune rules Pisces, and Neptune is sextiling Saturn in Capricorn, and Saturn rules Capricorn. And then Saturn is also conjuncting Pluto in Capricorn, and both planets are trining all 3 planets in Taurus, particularly that exalted new moon. And so that simply means that you are going to have different ways of being able to go after the good life. And that would be this is an excellent time to be doing that. Another reason why you can be focused on that is because this Venus is in Aries, the sign of new beginnings, along with Mercury, and it is beautiful. Both of them are beautifully trining Jupiter in Sagittarius. And so that is an indication that you could be thinking about the good life in a different location, or you could be connecting with people at a distance, because that's what Sagittarius rules. And so you could be planning a move, but it might be somewhere else. Or you could be planning to increase your education, and you may have to go a certain distance to achieve that. Or you could simply be thinking of creating a new business. And that would be great, because you'd be doing something that was down to earth and practical, and that could really pay the bills and make you happy as well. And it's very fortunate right now that with the Mars in Gemini, sextiling that Venus and Mercury in Aries, that communication can be working out much better right now between men and women, since these planets are sextiling each other. And that simply means that men and women can be more willing to compromise, and it can be that they are reaching closer and closer agreement about things. It doesn't mean that they're exactly all agreeing right now, but they're deciding to go in that direction, which would be good. So the news or the communication among people right now can be much more positive and favorable. And that's important to the good life, because we all have to sort of get along with each other as well. And then the other thing that we have to note is the direction the planets are moving in. And that is because there are 7 planets in a very small area of your chart among just 4 signs, and they are all direct. They're all moving forward. So, I mean, they know that they can be pursuing the good life as well. And those 7 planets are Neptune in Pisces, Venus and Mercury in Aries, the Sun, New Moon, and Uranus in Taurus, and then Mars in Gemini. So there's nothing stopping these planets. They are really ready to go. But there are 3 other planets now that are retrograde, and they too are in just a compact area of your chart. And so we have Jupiter, which is retrograde in Sagittarius now, and right ahead of Jupiter are Saturn and Pluto. They're both conjuncting each other, and they are also retrograde. And so these 3 planets that are retrograde indicate that some business matter has to be reviewed and revamped. And so it simply means when there are 3 or more retrograde planets that you've got to slow down a little bit and go back and recheck yourself and what you're doing, just to make sure that you haven't skipped anything. Because this revision or revamping can involve a business matter or a policy issue, and it would involve management, top management, in some sort of business entity or government agency. And because when planets go retrograde, they go back over their orbits, over ground they've already covered before. That means more information is coming out, and with additional facts or information, something is going to have to be redone. So we have to allow time for that as well. All right, what does this idea of the good life mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, this is a time when I think that you can be all ready to charge forward, and that's because Venus is in your sign. You can be very popular and in a good mood, and Mercury is there as well, which enhances your ability to communicate, and Jupiter in Sagittarius is trining both of the planets in your sign, Aries. So I think that you can be looking forward to the good life, and you may be deciding that you are really ready to start something new or restart something that you've always wanted to do that could represent the good life for you. And it could even be done at a distance. So you may be planning some sort of move, or someone else could be planning to come and see you. All of that would work out really well. It's just that you also have to make allowances or make time for the fact that Saturn and Pluto are squaring Venus and Mercury in your sign. That could indicate some sort of betrayal that may be generated by the fact that a business matter of some sort has to be reviewed and revamped somehow, and you will have to sort of adjust to that eventually, Aries. But in the meantime, hey, I think you may as well just head right for that good life, because that new moon in Taurus this weekend is right ahead of your sun sign. So go for it. All right, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, lucky you. The new moon in your sign is one of the best you'll ever have, Taurus, and the reason why is that the sun, the exalted new moon, and Uranus are all in your sign, and they are being beautifully trined by Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, and together those 5 planets are all trining the sign of Virgo. So your health could improve, your mental attitude could improve. You could see a way to go ahead and carry on with a long-term plan and rededicate yourself to that. It could be something that involves providing well for your loved ones. It may also involve something that has to do with real estate, but business as well. For instance, you may want to remodel your home and add an office, so that something that you're starting up, perhaps a new business, could eventually pay for the mortgage. Who knows? But there is the possibility that you are certainly well equipped right now, in fact, beautifully equipped for going forward and enjoying the good life, not enjoying just the rewards for it, because remember, the good life means getting back to basics. It means working hard, but having good food and comfort and providing well for your loved ones and enjoying simple pleasures. You would love that, Taurus. And there are, once again, no planets in any of the other fixed signs to square or oppose your sign. So this is an optimum time in your life, Taurus, to very seriously think about building something. And that's because it could be of benefit. No matter how long it took, it would benefit you for the rest of your life. So I hope you get real serious about the good life, because it is certainly within your ability to make that happen for you and your loved ones. So good luck. All right, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, Mars is in your sign, and yes, it is still squaring that Neptune in Pisces, which means you shouldn't believe promises that sound too good to be true, because that means they're not. However, Mars in your sign is now sextiling Venus and Mercury in Aries, and the new moon is right behind your sun sign, Gemini. So in the background of your, so first of all, communication can be working out in a more positive and favorable way for you right now. In other words, you can hear better news, or you can be talking to more positive people, and they can be ready to listen to what you have to say as well. So that's great. The communication and even some sort of legal agreement can work out better for you now. However, with the new moon in Taurus right behind your sun sign, Gemini, I think that you are thinking about big money. And there is so much light in the background of your life right now, because the new moon on Saturday will be right behind your sun sign, that I think that you are really seriously contemplate something that represents the good life, and it's going to cost you. And so that's fine. It could be really worth it. In fact, you could make money from it as well. But I think that that is the direction that you're thinking about right now. And all you have to do, since we do have these 3 retrograde planets right now in Sagittarius and Capricorn, which means a business matter will have to be reviewed and revised, that you had better double check all your figures and double check anything that could cost you more, increase your costs in any way, because you have to anticipate everything so that you don't get caught short, Gemini. But I do think you're thinking about something that represents big money, and it looks very positive. It's just I wouldn't talk too much about that. You better not tip anybody else off, Gemini, or somebody else could beat you to it. So be as quiet as you can. All right, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, you might be planning a move, and that is because Venus and Mercury in Aries are squaring your sun, and Aries rules new starts. And also Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn are opposing your sun sign. So there may be the possibility that due to a business matter that has to be revised or revamped in some way, you may be deciding that the good life looks better somewhere else, and you may be thinking about a move. Now, if you're not thinking about a move, I think you're at least considering a real estate matter. And that is because your sign rules residential real estate, but Taurus rules commercial real estate and very expensive real estate, high-priced real estate. And the planets in Taurus on Saturday, 3 wonderful ones, the Sun, New Moon, and Uranus, are all sextiling your sun, Cancer. So if you were going to move and make any kind of real estate investment, I think that you would probably want to start with something that is certainly within your budget, but that has the potential to become very valuable. And that could represent a long-range goal that could certainly lead you toward the good life, Cancer. And I would consider that if I were you. That's a good idea. Remember, a move or a new career or getting a better education, all of those things are very well aspected right now. So I wish you the best of luck. All right, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when you certainly are still looking at a new start, but you know, I think that it's gonna be a little bit delayed. And the reason why is that we all have to contend with these 3 retrograde planets right now. So even with Venus and Mercury in Aries trining your sun and Jupiter in Sagittarius trining your sun, which practically guarantees there is a new start headed your way, Leo, I still think that you are going to have to sort of wait on some sort of business matter or financial matter that has to be looked at again and re-examined, and it's got to be resolved. And it could even be something that's somewhat surprising to you, something you hadn't planned on, but you know, it sort of it's showing up now. And that's because the sun, new moon, and Uranus in Taurus are squaring your sun, Leo. This is not a good time for you to take a gamble or spend any money at all. And also, it simply means that sort of an expensive problem could land on your doorstep, and that has to be re-examined or resolved first. And in the meantime, I think that's going to put a new beginning on hold. But don't worry, it's still headed your way, Leo. It's just you might have to sort of prolong your activities a little bit. Your good life could be sort of a little bit down the road. I would say that you're going to have to sort of relax and be very patient over the summer, but it's still headed your way. So just take your time. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when you really are going to benefit by this wonderful new moon in Taurus. And that is because the sun, the new moon, and Uranus in Taurus are all trining your sun, and so are Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. 5 planets are trining your sun, Virgo. So I would say that I think you're thinking about the good life, Virgo, but your sign rules modesty. You really don't like to go overboard too much, and you certainly don't like to be extravagant. Generally, what you go for is something that even if it has a high price, it's also very high quality and will last a long time. So you could be thinking about making some sort of an investment that is pricey, but that is really worth it in the end because it's so well made or so well done. So that's fine. But in the meantime, there can be some irritating challenges that you have to face in your everyday life because Mars in Gemini is squaring your sun. That retrograde Jupiter in Sagittarius is squaring your sun, and Neptune is opposing your sun sign. So at an everyday level, there are challenges that, you know, every morning you wake up, there's another new one. But at the same time, I think that your investments and your career are on solid ground and improving. And anything you do to improve them can only benefit you and bring you the good life for a long time to come, Virgo. So don't worry about that. You're doing just fine. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time that you can be and contemplating, along with everyone else, the good life and how much it costs. And you could be desiring that. But there are a few little wrinkles that you've got to get over first. And one of them is that Saturn and Pluto are retrograded Capricorn. Yes, they're squaring your sun. And that simply means that there could be a revision in a business matter among top management. And if they change policies in any way, that could be challenging to you, Libra. And so you're going to have to sort of sit and very quietly wait until some business matter is resolved. It's not in your hands. There isn't anything you can do about it. It just has to be resolved first. So you might need a little more patience before you get on with your own goals for a good life. And then Venus and Mercury in Aries are opposing your sun, and that simply means that there can be some sort of a betrayal going on somewhere in your life. And it may not be a betrayal of you, and you may not be doing it either, but it could be a betrayal that someone else who wants to make a new start is enduring right now. And that too could just cause a little bit further delay. But don't worry, Libra, things are going to turn out all right. It's just you're really going to have to take just baby steps right now toward your good life. But at least you'll be going forward, which is great. All right, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, you need to be real careful right now. And the reason why is that the Sun, New Moon, and Uranus in Taurus on Saturday will all be opposing your sun sign. And yours is the only other fixed financial sign. So there could be a problem with taxes or with credit, or there could be some sort of money that you thought was coming your way that may be held up for one reason or another. It could be a good reason. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But still, the other side of the coin is you may have, some people spend the money before they get it. And that would not be a good idea for you, Scorpio. So I think that if you were planning on spending any money on something rather nice that could represent the good life for you, you're going to have to step back and delay that or postpone it, because I think this is a time when you can't afford to spend anything, because there are going to be increased sudden costs that come up now, Scorpio, and that's what you need the money for. Not even for the good life. You just need the money for the unexpected, and it looks like that is headed your way. So you need to just hang on to everything right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, a new start could certainly be coming your way, and I think you'd be embracing it with open arms, because it could represent the good life. And that's because Venus and Mercury are in Aries, trining your sun, and they represent new starts. And Sagittarius is in your sign as well. I mean, not Sagittarius, Jupiter. And Jupiter is retrograde right now. And the planets right ahead of your sign, Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn, are also retrograde. Before you can go on in your enthusiastic way toward a new start, Sagittarius, you really are going to be involved in some business matter that has to be revised or revamped in some way. There's going to be a postponement or a slowdown, and eventually there will be some new policies. There could even be the possibility of some budget cuts or some sort of sacrifice, additional sacrifice that has to be made before you can go on your way toward a new start. But you're still going to be able to do that. It's just that when the planets go retrograde and slow down, we have to do that too. So it's not that the good life is out of your reach or anything. It's just that there can be additional demands on your time before you get headed in that direction. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when you are really going to benefit from the new moon on Saturday. And that is because the Sun, New Moon, and Uranus and Taurus will all be trining Saturn and Pluto in your own sign. So I think you've got your mind on the good life, and that can represent something a little pricey. Yes, it means going back to basics and working hard and enjoying good food and comfort, but Taurus also rules investments. And it can be that your investments are doing just fine. Maybe you would like to increase them because they've been profitable. So you might, or else you might be able to sell something that has been profitable, and that money could be coming to you. But I think there is more money coming to you, and that can give you the ability to enjoy the good life. But a Capricorn is generally pretty careful with money and not extravagant. Capricorns have good taste. But they don't overdo it. And so Capricorn, I think that there is even a financial offer that could be coming your way. You really ought to say yes if that happens, Capricorn, because this is an opportunity for you to enjoy the good life and maybe make some more money as well. And you ought to take it. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, just like a Leo and Scorpio, you got to be real careful not to spend too much money right now, because the Sun, the New Moon, and Uranus, your own ruler, are all three in Taurus and strongly squaring your sun sign, Aquarius. And that simply means that you can't make a bet on anything. I wouldn't even buy a lottery ticket right now, Aquarius, because you're really going to need the money due to unexpected higher costs or an unexpected drop in the value of some of your investments, something that you just hadn't been planning on. However, you know, Mars in Gemini is sextiling the planets in Aries, and they are sextiling your sun sign, which means that communication among men and women right now is a lot better. They're more willing to compromise, and news can be rather positive right now. So if you are involved in any kind of negotiation, which I think you might be, Aquarius, things should be working out a little bit better now. But boy, I think you should still keep your hands in your pocket and not spend an extra dime right now, because you're going to need it in the future. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when you really can't be kidding yourself about anything, because Mars in Gemini is squaring your sun, and so is Jupiter in Sagittarius, and that Jupiter is retrograde right now. So you might have been a little bit extravagant or overconfident about something, and you got to pull back in your expectations right now, because there will be a business matter that involves people in top management in a business organization or a government agency, and some matter has to be revamped and revised. And that will affect all of us in one way or another. I mean, it could be different matters, but it's going to affect everybody, including you. And you have to be very extra careful now, Pisces, to stay away from anybody who does not have your best interests at heart. Remember that Mars can be an aggressive planet, and it's in the sign of communication, Gemini, and that means people could be spreading malicious gossip, and you really shouldn't believe it or even listen to it. So this is a very good time for you to go home and maybe dream about the good life and start planning for it, because the planets in Aries, Venus and Mercury, are right ahead of your sun sign. You are on the verge of a new start, Pisces, or a restart, but you've got to carefully think about what is best for you, not listen to anybody else. Just do some careful, quiet thinking on your own. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show, read our blog, and hear our podcast on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.